Move on because we were talking about Madonna a little bit. Let's talk about Donta, who y'all know is working on the new album, well, the comeback record titled "Confessions on a Dance Floor Part 2." But before we get into this news about how there's this rumor situation going around her putting together her upcoming tour, let's get into this tea about the Bedtime Stories EP that's coming out next month. So let me pull that picture up so y'all can see what it looked like. And I have to say, I'm definitely liking the overall aesthetic of this one. I feel like she about to give us way more with this than she did with the previous EP that she gave us that I was pretty much disappointed in. The Veronica Electronica. I was a little upset about that. Now, I already had the songs, all the stuff. It was great to have it in one place, but I felt like they really didn't put as much effort into it as it seems like they're putting into this Bedtime Stories EP that they're going to give us next month. So, according to the reports, because she reported it today, Madonna will belatedly mark the 30th anniversary. Child, I can't with these numbers. It makes me feel so old. But the 30th anniversary of her 1994 album, Bedtime Stories, with an EP boasting early demos, alternate mixes, and remixes. Bedtime Story: The Untold Chapter is arriving on November 28th. Features 8 of the album's tracks in alternate form, including new mixes of the singles "Secret" and "Human Nature," demos of one of my favorite songs, "Don't Stop," and a short mix of Freedom, recorded during the Bedtime Story session, but ultimately released on a 1997 Rainforest benefit album. Madonna's long rumored unreleased demos for bedtime stories like Right on Time, Let Your Guard Down, and Love Don't Won't Wait, which were ultimately recorded and released by Take That's Gary Barlow in 1997, will also make their debut on The Untold Chapter. Now, ahead of the EP's release, Madonna has shared her original demo edit of Right on Time. So yeah, that song is actually available on YouTube if you want to hear it. The EP will be available digitally as a standalone vinyl. I'm definitely gonna get that vinyl. That vinyl looks good, as well as accompanied by the. And I already heard Michael Karponsky said that he already spent like 100 something odd dollars. I was like, he already spent the coin on getting it on the pre-sale. So um, and then it's as well as accompanied by the original Bedtime Stories as part of a 2 CD reissue. Bedtime Stories itself will also be issued on silver vinyl on November 28th. All formats are available to pre-order now. Now, here's the thing what I want to say. Bedtime Story, and I believe I've told y'all this story before. Bedtime Story is actually the first Madonna album I was able to buy with my own allowance money. I had never been able to buy a Madonna record, but this is around the time when the album came out. I was at an age where I was like, okay, I'm making little money or whatever here and there. Like I was doing like summer youth jobs, and also I was getting allowance at home. So I'm like, just a little money I had. I was a little $200. I thought I was rich when you were a teenager. And you got $200 that you make from your little check, and you thinking you rich. But it's like you're young, you got your own money, you're just so happy. So I went to the store and I think it was Virgin Mega Store, went and bought it. And as either that or Tower Records. It was one of them. Went to the store, bought the album, came home, put it in the CD. Child, you couldn't tell me nothing. The minute that I started hearing, Survival with that old New Jack Swing funky beat that just came in, when that whole thing came on, I was getting my life with that record. Then of course Secret, then we had Don't Stop and Inside of Me, and then we had the Forbidden Love before the other Forbidden Love. I love both Forbidden Loves, to be honest. But I like Forbidden Love from Confessions more. And I think it's because the performance from the Confessions tour basically made me like that song even more. But I always liked it because of the production. But anyway, so I was excited when I got this record because it was like, yeah, I was able to spend my own money and stuff on it. So I'm looking forward to this record. To me, I feel like because of the whole Veronica Electronica thing, I think the reason why that record suffered, now that I think about it, is because there was no big announcement of her being officially back with Warner Brothers. So now that the Warner Brothers, and she has reunited with Warner Brothers, I feel like now it seems like they really put their effort, they put their foot in this whole situation regarding the promotion, the songs, the remixes, a lot of the stuff. Like this really feels like a proper rollout for them digging into the vault. Me being greedy, I kind of want more songs than the 8 they're gonna give us. But for the most part, I'll take this until we get the new album. Now, speaking of the new album, let's get into this team that's been coming out regarding the upcoming album. And now they're saying that Madonna is planning a world tour around the new album, which would make sense because I could definitely see her put it together. Because here's the thing: when you're putting together a record, when you're doing all of that planning and you have an idea of what you're going to do, of course you're also thinking about what the visuals are going to be. You're coming up with ideas, you're putting them all together, and you're going to be working on trying to put together this show. And probably at the top of the year, we already know Madonna will probably be deep in the rehearsals, and then she'll probably have this tour out later 2026 and that sort of thing. So, with that being said, according to Radar Online, they're saying that she's thinking about putting together a high energy new tour to set to defy the ages. Now, Madonna is preparing to prove that age is no barrier to reinvention, with plans for a new dance album, a possible world tour, and what friends tell RadarOnline.com is a defiant push to show she is stronger than ever. I was waiting for her to say stronger than yesterday, than ever as she approaches 70. She's 67. Relax. It's like y'all got her at 70 already. But I guess by the time she probably hits the road, she'll be 68. Because I can't imagine that, if we get in the new album, which will be at the top of 2026, that she's gonna well look. But then again, Lady Gaga came out with Mayhem, and then they threw together something relatively quickly. And this is being called her best, one of the best tours of her career. So it probably won't take long for her to put something together because they probably had it cooking up for a long time. Now, the pop icon, who turned 67 in August, announced her first studio album in 7 years earlier this month. Her record due for release in 2026 and said to be a return to the euphoric sound of her 2005 hit Confessions on a Dance Floor. Marks the most ambitious comeback since recovering from a near fatal health scare 2 years ago. Now, in regards to like the rumors regarding Confessions, I am hearing rumors that it could be a hybrid of Ray of Light with a bit of Confessions thrown in. And then on top of that, look, I'm gonna show y'all this picture. Because remember, Madonna, and could I possibly believe this story to be true? I could. Because remember, this is Madonna in 2004 on the left during the reinvention tour. And on the right is a picture of her doing the same pose this year. So she getting her core strength back up. She's getting back into and I think when you're an athlete, which she's always been, and you've been doing yoga, because remember, she even said in the interview she did with Jay Shetty that she had to learn. She was sitting there thinking it was all about the poses and all that stuff. I was like, no, it's about the breathing. The pose is just the extra icing on the cake, but it's about the breathing exercise and breathing through those, like centering yourself and all that stuff. So it's not about trying to be a bit of a show off. So a source close to the singer said Madonna is determined to bring back that high energy disco era. The same moves, the same stamina, the same showmanship. She's been working on jump squats. Oh no, girl, not the jump squats. Because remember, you was doing all of that, and my knees started hurting just watching you doing all them jump squats. And remember, she did just have hip replacement surgery, and she had an issue with her knee. So I hope she really doesn't push herself to the point that she re-injures herself. She's been working on jump squats, back bends, and choreography that would exhaust someone half her age. She wants to prove to fans that age is just a number. Now, in June 2023, Madonna was rushed to the ICU with a serious bacterial infection and placed in an induced coma for several days. The medical emergency came just weeks before the start of her 7-month celebration world tour. After her recovery, she told fans, "I realized how lucky I am to be alive." She later completed the rescheduled shows, which drew more than 1 million fans worldwide. Friends say the experience only reinforced her drive. A source said, quote, Madonna's never been the type to take her foot off the gas. Even before the last tour wrapped, she was training nearly every day. Weights, yoga, Pilates, you name it. When she got ill, she had to stop briefly, but for the moment she recovered, she was back to rehearsals. She determined to recapture that peak energy. Those close to her say there is admiration, but also concern. One insider says those closest to her are worried she's pushing herself too hard. She's unbelievably focused, but she doesn't know when to stop. She wants to be in top condition for another major tour, which is a huge physical demand at her age. Her friends admire her determination, but they wish she slowed down a little. And I think that's what she needs to realize as well. What you need to realize is when you were going through what you was going through with that, I think that was the universe telling you, ma'am, slow down, relax, calmate. Like you need to take a moment and not overexhaust yourself because when you did that before, how did you end up? You ended up in the ICU. You almost ended up you saw the other Madonna, your mother, on the other side was telling you to come to the other side. You was like, no, bitch, I'm not ready. And then you went back and you screamed no. Remember, that was a story she told the Jay Shetty podcast. So I'm all for you getting up there. Look, you look good, money well spent with the surgeon. You physically you look good. The body is bodying. The face looks youthful. I don't know, maybe you and Chris Jenner went to the same damn surgeon. I don't know. But you're looking good. I feel like at this point in your age, I need you to take the more Kylie Minogue approach, where Kylie Minogue will get up there and give you a little choreography, but she's giving showmanship. She's moving around the stage. She's being personal with the audience. She's singing. That mic is on. But I don't need you up in here acting like you Trinity from the Matrix, dodging bullets, just because you want to prove that you are Madonna. I don't feel like at this day and age you even need to prove anything to us. You're an icon. No one there's not many people that can sit and say that they have 4 decades worth of work that they can look back on and perform and promote. I don't think you have to overexert yourself. So I'm really hoping that she doesn't really overexert herself, that she has people that are genuinely going to look out for her. And I don't give a good goddamn if she get mad or not. I just need somebody to be in her ear like, mom, calm down. If it's one of her kids or somebody, I don't know if it could be anybody on the payroll. But if you're on the payroll, it's hard for you to tell somebody who's your boss to bring it back a little bit or not to overexert yourself. But I hope this is a lesson learned. We know that Madonna is somebody who is hella ambitious, that works hard and wants to and has a lot to prove. And yeah, her tours are physically demanding. If you see any of her tours, I don't give a damn what none of y'all say. Nobody touches Madonna in regards to the type of show she puts on. She is the blueprint. She has set the standards for so many of y'all faves, from Gaga to Beyonce and beyond, to do the type of live shows that they do. They're taken from Madonna's blueprint. And Madonna's always pushed the boundaries in regarding having the best dancers, having the best choreographers, giving the best show. Her shows are always a theatrical experience. Now we could talk about the music not being all that great post Confessions, because Hard Candy wasn't that good. It was listenable, but it wasn't that great. It was all style and no substance. Rebel Heart was a bloated mess. Madam X, I can't. um, MDNA sounded like basically dated EDM. And so she hasn't really given us a lot of quality. I feel like that Confessions Part 2, which is the working title, is going to be a reset. Her coming back home to Warner Brothers is a reset. This tour, I'm sure, is going to be spectacular. She gonna gag all the girls, and they're all gonna be green with envy when they see what type of show she's gonna put on post the celebration tour. So I'm looking forward to it. But like I said before, Madonna, you'll be 68 next year. You're not somebody. I feel like artists are not people who just slow down and be like, "Well, I'm gonna just sit on stage and just strum a guitar." Like that's not her. We know that she is a show. She's a show woman. She gives you shows. She is very, immaculate when she gets on stage. But I just don't want you to overexert yourself because we need you here for another decade, putting out iconic music. So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Do you believe this story regarding what Radar Online is saying about her overexerting herself and her trying to really defy the odds and all that? So I could definitely see that that's how she would be because that's her personality. But I just want her to not overdo it because I feel like you've given us so many iconic concerts. You don't really need to. You don't have anything to prove. You really don't. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.